Okay, a little more on the speaker repair. I was hoping to get a terminal off of a dud speaker here, but that terminal is non-existent, and that looks like to be an import perhaps. I drilled a pilot hole here and here, and what I'll do is I found the hole size to be 1/8 inch because this one here has a two position mount, so that fits there. So I'll follow through with this. I'll clean that out, and as far as the terminal goes, all we'll need to do to clean these up, the piece of the broken wire, is I'll just heat this up, and then you give it while it's still hot, a firm tap against the surface to release that solder. So we'll clean those holes and get back to the repair. Okay, the last on the speaker repair is I've gone ahead and added a little piece of a resistor wire lead to it, and added a nut, bolt, and a lock washer to the terminal strip. And there is a little bit of damage, not caused by the repair. There's a couple little voids there. We'll doctor up. What I want to show you is that lead is flexible, and it's very, very, very hard to solder to. So what I've gone ahead and done is with that extension is try to keep it as short as possible, and also that wire has to flex and not touch the frame of the speaker, and that wire is incredibly tough to solder to. And I wanted to crimp it to the terminal strip with the wire. I wanted it mechanically held as well as being soldered in place. So because it is a speaker, it's susceptible to vibration. I'm going to do a quick battery test on it. I know it's good, but I don't know how I can set this down so you can watch that. But let's set this down here. I can't really do that either. Just set the camera down so I can do a quick battery test here, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to use like a 9-volt battery. I'll just use a little pen light. So I do have I don't know if you can see that action in the speaker or not, because this is just one tidbit. When you want to, although phasing is not an issue here, when I hit it with the battery, that speaker is going in towards the center, so that means I have the polarity reversed. So if I reverse the polarity on the battery, that'll mean the white will be positive and the speaker will, the cone, if the polarity is correct, the cone will jump out when it's positive, which it's doing. So that white is the positive. This is monophonic, just off the output transformer, so it doesn't matter. Phasing's not an issue. I believe it was in the chassis this way, and the striped lead went here to the positive. So that appears the way it was, and now we can get on with the rest of the set. You have noticed another little incident that's occurred here is our little UHF dial. I mentioned the drums are always a problem. I have a little crease here, so it's such a tedious task here. We're going to try to we'll use some double-sided tape, I think, just a little bit to secure that, but that means that has to come off. Okay, back on the UHF dial indicator here. I've gone ahead and I was able to superimpose the numbers where they were, yet I did turn the wheel underneath around, so I've lost my index point. But I checked the video that I just made, and basically what this tuner does when you're in the UHF, when you change to UHF, the fine tuning takes on a different role, and that is to tune the UHF. It starts off fine and then it goes. And it's not scraping. We do have that little crease there, but it's not scraping anything. as it makes its way around, and I've basically just centered it. I've centered it on either side of the swing to equal out. So we've lost that, but want to be careful with this set. Everything that we're touching on, it seems to fall apart. It's in such delicate shape. The speaker is repaired. Now the dial indicator is repaired with no breakage. Oh, and it's just so delicate. Now we're going to go in. What we came out to do prior is take a look at the flyback. And back on the tuner, even putting the fish paper cover back on, I'm going to be careful because that even touches the wheels. So we'll put that back on gingerly. Go in and take a look at what our flyback situation is here. As I've heard stories of these flybacks, one gentleman used to change them a lot. I met at a show, has actually seen the tube arc right through the center of the transformer down to the chassis. And that looks pretty good in there. The lighting in here is not the best. Let me see if I can tilt that out toward the sun a little bit. I have no wax drippage. No wax drippage. Maybe just a couple little. This is the winding that lights that 3A3, I believe. This lights the focus rectifier or something. No, this is lighting the focus rectifier. This comes back to me from earlier days. I thought it lit up here, the 3A3 high voltage rectifier. I'm going to have to revisit that. Yes, that is coming in the corner of the can over there. So this picks up from inductance the voltage to light the 3A3 high voltage rectifier, and that used to break down quite a bit. I used to just go to houses and change that double loop there with some off a new spool of high voltage wire. I think it was only 3 kV or something like that. No, it was 27. I don't recall, but anyway, that couple turns off the flyback is what lights the 3A3, is what comes to my mind. I've done that in Admirals a lot. Here's our plate cap. I'm hoping never to have to go into one of these to do something. I don't know how the AV2 gets its filament voltage. It may be in the same manner. I'll look into that more later. Anyway, that's the flyback. Now, what we also want to do today, I'm going to mark this tube here, my Sharpie, where everything is, the convergence. I'm going to take this out. We're going to take a look at what that black goo was, and we're just going to take this tube out and set it aside and clean this cabinet out. Certainly when you want to take on any project like this, you want to keep your parts together and just not be in a hurry. You can't be in a hurry doing this sort of thing. The only other thing I've noticed, the last casualty I've noticed, is on the color and tint knob. I don't know if it was missing. I assume we lost it here. Is the little spring that holds the knob. It gives it some resistance to hold the knob in place. There's a little spring in there, and if you're not careful, when you go to pull it out, you'll lose it, or it'll come out with it. So, not a big deal, just something to watch for in the future. Again, we'll look for it. Maybe it was on here. If it was, we should find it nearby, but or we can make up something. But just keep all our parts organized, and what we're going to go on next is the convergence out and mark the tube and just see what this is all about in here. Okay, I've marked where the yoke was, the blue lateral magnet, and the top of the yoke. I'm just going to look around and see where the gouger goes around the shield. First is the shield, that is the tube. Well, here's a good look at the outside of our set. And that black corrosive goo, which I don't know what in the world that is. And the tube, I'm not sure if this band is even going to hold, but perhaps it looks like maybe the goo from the cork. Maybe it's some kind of dope they put on. I have no idea. But another mystery's been solved here in the fact that it is an RCA service company tube, and the strap is just loose. So this tube has been replaced, but it's tired. We'll test it again and see what happens, but maybe we'll bench test using this tube. And the front is hard to do with one hand and all with loose straps, but I just want to tilt this up to show. There's actually a hole. They say there's a safety glass with just one little section. But what's odd here, what's odd about this one, the fact that it has a hole in it. And that must have been, it's still moist in there. That must be where the water has gotten in. They've compressed and froze and compressed and froze, expanded, and caused all the defects on the safety glass. So it looks like the strap may not have been in very tight. When we used to change tubes out, the gentleman would always say he'd rather have the tube fall out than implode in the customer's house. So it's a shame. We'll test this tube again. We'll bring it in the house. Okay, finishing up the CTC 24A Part 3 is we're in the house, and what we're going to do is I'm going to try to clean. I've been digging around in that affected area. I'm going to try to clean some of that out. I don't know if that's conductive down there or what. I'm going to try to wash this, and being very careful around those coils. And I think we'll put it on the Variac with that tube from outside. Clean up the tube, and we'll hook it up right here on the bench. So stay tuned for that. And now we're in search of a safety glass. We'll have to see how that tube looks, because it's odd that it tested well on that blue gun and then went down to the questionable area. It just kind of throws me there. The other two guns are fine, but yet it's still in need of a safety glass, which has been thrown out. Anyway, more on that later. Thanks for watching.